Hello and welcome to IPC Tips. My name is Igor Alcantara and today we'll learn about mapping tables. In our data model, there is a table called product category color, but that table was very poorly designed. Let's take a look at what the values we have in that table. So let me click the preview button to see the values. So that product contains colors for product categories, but also for product subcategory. So a product in our data model can have a category, and a category can have multiple subcategories, and they both can have color associated to them independently. But I have the same information for color in both in the same table. So let's look at that table. We do have two keys. One is product subcategory key, and the other is product category key ID. So then this key is not even linking to anything because the name does not match anything else we have in the data model. We do have this English product category name, which we don't need because we have it in the other tables. And we have a column called category color, which is the actual color. So when we have a product category key, we do not have a subcategory key. When we do not have a product category key, then we have the product subcategory key. It's like we join two tables that are different together in one table. And that is a mistake. What I want to do is take what belongs to subcategories and add to the subcategory table, and take what belongs to the category and add to the category table. How do we do that? Well, let's do one at a time. Let's take a look at the product subcategory first. What do we have in product category color that belongs to subcategory? Well, we do have the key, and we do have the actual color associated to that key. This is a very interesting case. We have then two values basically. One is an identification, the product subcategory key, and the other is something that we want to map to the identification key. That's what we call a lookup table, or in Qlik language, we call this a mapping table. Mapping table is a table that maps one value to one key. So then we can take out of these two values and create a table called mapping table, and then use the mapping table to add the color to each one of the subcategories. So let's then go to our script and let's find that color table, which is in this tab, and let's discuss how can we create a mapping table. I'm going to copy this whole section, not cut, just copy this whole section, and I'm going to start a mapping table section. It's always a good idea that your mapping table section in your script is the one after the main section. It's because then you create your mappings first, and then you already are able to use it, so it becomes available right away. So let me create then a new section, and let me call it mapping tables. And let's paste this. A mapping table needs three things. So we have three requirements for a mapping table. Requirement number one is you need to give this mapping table a name that you can then use in the future. It can be any name, but just for naming convention, we usually use the name map something. So that is a color that I want to map to the subcategory table. So what I'm going to do is call this map color subcategory. That's the requirement number one. The requirement number two is that you need a prefix, a load prefix that indicates that's a mapping table. So right before the load statement, you need a prefix that indicates it's the mapping table, and that prefix is called mapping. So you type mapping, and that indicates to Qlik that's a mapping table. And we're going to see after this event, after reloading this, we're going to see how a mapping table works in the data module. And the third requirement is that you can only have 2 fields in the mapping table. And not only that, the order of the fields matter. The name do not matter, but the order matter. The first column must be the identification. The second column must be the value that you're mapping to that identification. Our identification is called product subcategory key. So that should be my first field in the mapping table. So let me copy that. And in the preceding load, let me remove load star. I don't want to do a load star. I just want to load 2 fields. So let me remove that. And then let me place the product subcategory key as the first one. And then the second is the value that we're mapping to. That's the category color. So let me copy that to this and add as a second column. So now I can use the mapping table anywhere in my data module. So let me copy the name, and then I can use the name. And I want to add that to the product subcategory table. So let's go to the products section. Let's find product subcategory. And then let's add the ApplyMap. So let me clear in the load statement, the preceding load, let me clear some room. And let's add at the very last field. The order does not matter, but let's add at the last one. So let me then type a function called ApplyMap. So ApplyMap provides to the mapping table an identification and then gets in return the mapping value. First parameter of ApplyMap function is the name of the mapping table in single quotes. The second parameter is what ID you providing to the mapping table to find your mapping value. So that's going to be the product subcategory key. And those are the only 2 parameters required for ApplyMap function. However, there's a third optional parameter. What happens if you don't find that value in the mapping table? If you only use 2 parameters, then Qlik will return the ID as the mapping value. We don't want that, so we can define as the third parameter some default value. So let's say if we don't find anything, then it's going to be just the plain black color. That's the most common color in our store. And then we can call this field anything we want. So let me call this product subcategory color. Now, if I do that, the mapping table will not exist in the data module. Mapping tables are automatically dropped from the data module after the script is finished. So it's a way that you can keep a table just temporarily to use to add a value to a table. Not only that, there is another advantage of using mapping tables is that you know for sure that the number of rows in the destination tables will not change because it doesn't work like a join. It's just you adding one value to the table. If you have more than one value in the mapping table that correspond to the key you're providing, then the first one is the one that is being returned. Now let's load the script and see the result. So let me click Load Data. After reload is finished, we can go back to the data module viewer. And let's take a look at the product subcategory table. We now have one new field, product subcategory color. However, this table still remains. I fixed part of the problem, and then I need to fix the other part, which is associate the color to the product category. I could do another mapping table if I wanted to associate just the color for the category. However, I have more than that. I also have this English product category name in here that I want to add to the product category. And I have this flag also. So instead of doing 3 mapping tables, a better solution is to do a join. But be careful, before doing a join, we need to check 2 things. First, I want to join product category color to product category. Just make sure we do have a proper link. We have the product category key in the product category color. However, the name does not match what we have in the product category. So we need to take care of that so the link will work. And second, always check the number of rows in both tables so you don't end up having a Cartesian product. So the final table should not have more records than the largest table. If you do, then you have duplicates. So we have 10 rows in here and we have 4 rows in there. Our final table will have max 10 rows. Let's then go back to the script. Let's find the table, which is in this, and then we can make these changes. I no longer need the product subcategory information, so I can remove those. So in the load, instead of load star, I can remove the star and we can list them individually. Let's start with the key. So let me find the product category key. Let me copy and paste, and let's rename this to be the same category key that we have in the product table. So let me go to products. Let's find the product category table, and we have product category key. Let me copy this, and I prefer copying and paste so I don't mistype anything. And remember, field names in Qlik are case sensitive, so be careful about the cases, uppercase, lowercase you use. So I have that. I also want to add the English product category name column, so let me list that. And I also want to add the color, so it's called category color, and I can keep that name. And then this last one, this. For naming convention, I would recommend to rename this because we call it subcategory, product subcategory color, product subcategory color. So it makes sense to rename this. So just to keep naming convention, let's do it. So that's product category color. I'm going to reload this without joining because that's what we recommend. Load, see if the tables link. If they link, if you're happy with the link, then you add the join. So let me load that. And let's go back to the data model viewer. And let's take a look how they link. Now we have product category and product category color, and they are linked based on the product category key. Now we're good to link them. Let's again take a look at the cardinality. So there is a 100% subset ratio in the product category color. And if we go to product category, there's an 80% subset ratio. So it means that we have some product category keys in the product category color table that are not in the product category. There is something very strange, but let's just gonna add it. We're gonna have strange results like products with a category color but without a category name. But let's make sure we fix that. So we go back to the script, and then instead of giving a name to this table, I don't need that. We then can use the join. So we have the options of a left join, a right join, inner join, or an outer join, or a simpler join. In this case, I don't care about colors without a product category. Those colors are probably some wrong, or in this case, they're actually blank product category keys. So I don't care about those. So let's do a left join. And then we're doing a left join, and I'll put in parentheses the name of the destination table. Name of destination table, if you check, it's prod cat. So then I can add the table name there. And let's click load data. Finally, let's check one last time our data model viewer. We do have now removed that colors table. We have extra columns for product category, those columns that we created, the product category color, the English name, and that flag. Let's take a look at the number of rows in prod cat is 4. That's the number we had it before. So remove all of the colors without a category because they do not matter to us. So that's how we fix this type of problem using mapping tables, using join tables. So it's always a decision between one and another, and the number of columns you have is the key point. I hope you like this video. Please make sure you subscribe to our channel and comment what you think about this video, and also give us recommendations for next topics. See you next time.